what could be worse than a civil war? The total annihilation of 50% of the population of every man, woman, and child, because that's what they're already in the 60s and that. Because if they were talking about whacking 30 million white people, primarily gun owners, Christians, then what's the numbers now? We'll take the difference in the population. I did this once, but I forget the number. The population of the United States in 1964 through 68, and then take the population, take the percentage and see. And I think we came up with, it pretty much was, something like 25 to 30% of the population. Well, that links and syncs up with the red list, the blue list, and the green list, And I've seen red, blue, and yellow. It was never yellow. It was red list, blue list, and green list. Basically, the red lists are people to be terminated in the first 30 to 60 days, people that were gun owners, Christians. Blue lists were the cops and law enforcement and military that would be allowed to live to take care of the red list, and when they're done, they get whacked. And they get whacked, by the way, by the foreign militaries they're training with that are already positioned in this country. And then the green list get to be the drones. They get to be the serfs. They get to serve their masters because they never stood for anything and will take orders against everything that everybody else ever believed. In essence, they would be the traitors.
And there it is. And you've been saying that for a long time. I mean, it's pretty clear. Now I think more people, thankfully, I think more people are awake now. Not enough by any stretch of the imagination, but what you've done, what InfoWars has done, and I'd like to think what we've done in some small part is to wake a segment of the population up to what we're going through right now.
Doug. One man plants, another waters, and another fertilizes. And the thing is that it's like a garden. God likens ancient Israel to a vineyard. And He said, "What more could I've done for you?" And so the point being is that here's the thing: we need to basically recognize this is total information war. Words are containers. They are redefining our words. They are changing our speech. That's exactly what Orwell said they would do. That's exactly what an Atlas Shrugged was being done. I got to tell you something. Atlas is shrugging, but maybe it ought to be, Atlas needs to be vomiting or something to get people's attention, because nothing gets people's attention. You know this. I'm sorry to be gross, but when someone starts to hurl, everybody has an immediate response, don't they?
Believe me, I've seen that happen.
And Steve,
sympathetic. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because this was brought up on our show by a caller earlier this week, and I don't want to get into the censorship issue too far without getting into the Christian aspect of it. Everybody's focused on the political aspect and the alternative media aspect of it. But recently in California, there was a billboard that was purchased by a pastor who holds these events at Anaheim Stadium. And all the billboard showed was him holding a Bible, which did not say Bible. And the rest of the logo said Social Harvest, Greg Laurie, and it gave the dates. Anyways, after numerous complaints, they removed the billboard because they said that it was offensive to some people. But this article from from CBN News, the growing intolerance towards God and Christianity, why Bible billboards were blocked. But this goes to a further story in California where under this law that bans any type of gender therapy to try to tell, a boy who is a boy that he's not a girl is banned. And any literature promoting that is also banned, which would include the Bible. How much of the censorship do you believe is for the purpose of suppressing Christian and biblical texts versus what we see right now, the alternative media and this debate political that we have now? Yeah.
Well, you can sum it up this way too. Free speech is what we say, not what you say.
Good point. Yeah, and that's and there it is.
We're free to say what we want to say. You are not free to say what you want to say. And if you continue saying what you want to say, we're going to kill you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, why is it that the people hide themselves behind their masks, the Antifa people? Well, it's simple, because they don't want to be known who they are, because they don't want to pay the price. And the deal that is I think it was, I forget which police force was it in maybe Oregon, Portland, that they named all of the protesters protesters and posted their names, and that made the crybabies wet out of both ends.
Oh, yeah. That was... Well, when was that?
That was brilliant. If anybody is in the law enforcement field that was involved in that, I take my hat off to you, because, you know, if they want to own their I got to say it right, I'm sorry. If they want to own their stuff, then they got to basically be expectant of them being known too. Because again, you know, when I hear they're going to bring a gun to a knife fight or whatever, I'll tell you what, the last guys you want to mess with are people that can really respond immediately. And I asked my friend, the LEO guy, who was boots on the ground, giving us that alert. Look, prayers of God's people change everything. But you better recognize this, that we are in the time period that Jesus spoke of. I know there are people arguing, well, the rapture hasn't come, so we're not there yet. Well, will you be saying that when they come you have to take the mark? And remember, ladies and gentlemen, the mark, the reason why the people who take the mark of the beast are going to be damned is not just because they deny Jesus to do so. That in itself is where that, but it's going to change your DNA. When your DNA is changed on the level that these people are provoking and promoting and also engineering, you will cease to be human. If you cease to be human, you will not, I'm not talking morally or ethically, I'm talking biologically, you will no longer be what's the word? You'll no longer can avail yourself of the salvation where Jesus died for the human race. He didn't die for the angels that sinned. He didn't die for anything else. He died for those that were created in God's image and likeness, who fell into the power of sin. It's a power. It's not an act. The power provokes and promotes the act, and who only through his precious blood can we be redeemed. These people want to suck the lifeblood out of our youth, literally. They want to rape our children, literally. They want to sacrifice them on the altar. And so can I say something? And I won't use the word, but all the other arguments pale in comparison to that horror being promulgated on the heritage of the Lord. Children are the heritage of the Lord. They're attacking God's image and likeness. They're eating it up. They're devouring it. They're drinking the blood. They're raping the innocents. They're stealing the innocents. And all that stuff. And it's not who isn't. Forgive me. It is who is in Hollywood. And God bless everybody who works in the film business that's a Christian, that's a believer, that stands against this stuff. And may God literally unto their sin let their judgment be. I want to say God bless you to everyone, and not that you were so kind to let me come on and rant and rave, but the deal is, ladies and gentlemen, my rantings and ravings will cease. My ability to post on the internet will cease. My ability to be any more light in a very dark world will cease. My critics and my mockers and the scorners and the character assassinations and the liars, your ability to even be heard will cease, because they won't allow any mention of us. So I would encourage all of you, and especially those of you, and I'm speaking to a specific individual that has a ministry on talk radio